Hey, my friends, I am stealing back my life from my boss in order to read you Against the Logic of Submission by Wolfi Landstreicher for another installment of the Audio Anarchy project. You, my dear friend, whoever you are, may record your own installments of anarchist writings, even if you're at work, and link them to the Audio Anarchy project site for all to enjoy. In fact, you can do whatever you desire whenever you want, because every text, every image, every sound that pleases you is yours. Wherever you find it, take it as your own, without asking permission, and do with it whatever you want. Introduction. Submission to domination is enforced not solely or even most significantly through blatant repression, but rather through subtle manipulations worked into the fabric of everyday social relationships. These manipulations, ingrained into the social fabric not because domination is everywhere and nowhere, but because the institutions of domination create rules, laws, mores, and customs that enforce such manipulations, create a logic of submission, an often unconscious tendency to justify resignation and subservience in one's everyday relations to the world. For this reason, it is necessary for those who are serious about developing an anarchist insurrectional project to confront this tendency wherever it appears, in their lives, their relationships, and the ideas and practices of the struggles in which they participate. Such a confrontation is not a matter of therapy, which itself partakes in the logic of submission, but of a defiant refusal. It requires a subversion of the existent, a development of different ways of relating to ourselves, each other, the world, and our struggles, ways that clearly reflect our determination to refuse all domination and to reappropriate our lives here and now. I'm talking here of a real revolution of everyday life as the necessary basis for a social revolution against this civilization founded on domination and exploitation. The following essays appeared in Willful Disobedience as the series Against the Logic of Submission. By no means do they exhaust the question, but I think they provide a basis for a discussion as to how we can create ourselves, our relationships, and our struggles as our own, in defiance of all domination. Against the Logic of Submission. A distinguishing feature of the anarchist idea of revolution is the importance of the individual in bringing this about. Although collectivist ideology has dulled this realization even in most anarchist circles, it still manifests in such choices as abstention from voting and from military service. But for those seeking to develop an insurrectional practice, this realization needs to go much further than a few abstentions. No revolutionary anarchist denies the necessity of large-scale uprisings of the exploited to destroy the state, capital, and every institution of power and privilege. But revolution is not a gift that falls from the sky or is granted by an abstract history. Actions of individuals help to build the circumstances which can make uprisings occur and can push them in the direction of generalized revolt. This means that rather than waiting around for the revolution like certain Marxists, trying to read historical signs so that one will be ready, it makes more sense that we anarchists consider ourselves to be in revolt at every moment of our lives and attack this social order without worrying about whether, quote, the time is ripe. Individual acts of revolt, which are easily repeated and imitated, provide the basis for the development of forms of mass action in which the individual is not lost and delegation is absent. That is to say, insurrectionary action that could destroy the present reality and open the possibility for creating a world in which every individual can grasp all that they need to fully realize themselves. But equally important to the anarchist recognition of the primacy of the actual living individual as opposed to the collectivized cog and to the abstract concept of the individual is the recognition that we need to become a certain sort of being, a being capable of acting on our own terms to realize our own desires and dreams in the face of the most fierce and powerful enemy, this entire civilization, the state, capital, the technological system, etc. To live as a rebel, as a self-willed anarchist revolutionary, requires a great deal of will, determination, and spirit in the face of dizzying odds. Thus, one essential aspect of developing an insurrectional practice is the transformation of oneself into such a spirited, willful being. Such a transformation does not take place through therapy, but through attacking the social order both in its manifestations in the world and in oneself and one's relationships. An uncompromising cruelty may prove essential to the task, because there are so many chains to be broken, so many limits to be destroyed. As one comrade has said, The individual quest is, quote, the appropriation of everything that has been subtracted from one through family, school, institutions, and roles, in order to find one's specificity, totality, and universality lost in the process of domestication and the construction of symbolic culture. So the point is to make the decision to take one's life back in its totality, a decision that requires just the sort of ferocity that will be necessary to demolish this society. And such a decision will transform all one's relationships, demanding a clarity that will leave no room for submission to the demands of social protocol, disrespectful tolerance, or pity for those who fear the energy of unchanneled desire more than its suppression. In making this decision, and the decision is only truly made as one acts to realize it, one is completely rejecting the logic of submission that dominates most relationships.